Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are. Welcome to another Escapement Show.
Welcome. Hello.
Good to have my friend Abdul R Watches and my good friend JCB. So we've got Germany in the house, we've got Australia in the house. We're waiting for Ireland in the house, but Ben's a bit late, I think. I think he's got his times mixed up, but we'll cross our fingers and hope he turns up. And I just wanted to mention our good friend Blue Shirt Buddha. He always used to say,
Blue shirt.
He always used to say about there being, we got Y2K, we got myself, we got Abdul, we got JCB, we got Ben. That's 5 of us. And he always used to say, if that's playing, is that playing?
Nope.
Oh, the volume's not up. Let me just go back. I think I messed it up.
Even in death, Blue Shirt's messing with you, man. He's having some fun.
As you say.
And then the sixth friend is you guys. You guys are an integral part of the show, so just sit back and relax, and we'll talk some watches. Everybody's
so the sixth guy, the sixth person is you guys, and I just want to point out that we're going to open the gates in this show to you guys. So if anyone fancies hopping on the panel for our question and answers that we're going to do this show, please feel free, and I can drop the link. If anyone fancies, I can pin the link even. I'll do that now. Link the pin.
Link the pin. Yeah, we're just doing some pretty chilled Q&A, just some watch talk today. So if you're into it, let's hop on and have a chat. Join us on the panel. It'd be great to have you. And it was great to hear Blue Shirt's voice, man. Like I often, pull up a watch talk with the punters episode and just listen along to the boys from back in the day. Always good fun.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah. While you do that, Tom, Abdul, do you want to show us what you've got on wrist today, brother?
I actually have a.
You got a ghost. You got a ghost watch, right?
Ghost watch. I have my Casio bronze AE1200. That watch is one of my favorite watches, to be honest. The SKX mod of this watch, and this watch is if I had to choose one watch to take on a trip, this would be it. Just the easiest watch to have, to wear.
Bronze Casio gives you a background getting blurring it out. Yeah,
the AI with the background thing is really blurring. Even when you don't want it to work, it works. You know. But I've been the past 2 weeks. I wear the Tissot Sidral when I was in Saudi, and I had my Adis Dive chronograph with me, and the other Casio that I have, the G-Shock. And I have to say, the last time I was in Saudi, I had this watch, and I wore it also a lot because just the light, the functionality, the alarm, so everything that you need while I'm at home. To around, I can do it on this watch, and when I'm traveling, it's the same thing.
Right. So I'll go next. Yeah,
what do you got?
I'm wearing. You like this, JCB? I'm wearing my Zenith A384.
Fuck yeah, I like that
Chronograph.
Man, that is a killer of a watch, man. Honestly, one of my favorite Zenith watches. One of my favorite watches, period, man.
With the 400 caliber automatic.
Yeah.
Zenith Del Primero being one of the first automatic
chronographs. Yeah.
Chronographs.
1969.
That's the one, yeah. But were they first, or was Seiko the first? I think JCB will put us right with this.
Yeah. So I think it went Seiko in January, and then I think it went Breitling and Tag Heuer. They had a collaboration with Caliber 11, I believe it was. I think that came around. I think it was June-ish, and then Zenith came last, actually, which was
really.
Yeah. I think it was around October, November. They came out with the with the El Primero. So it's funny, like Zenith announced it first, but it had the other two came actually before Zenith in 69. So yeah, little interesting factoid there.
Ben's just here for the wrist check. Good to see you,
Hey.
Ben.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Good to see you. So what are you wearing on wrist, JCB? What have you got on wrist?
So I'm just wearing the. I'm actually got an affordable watch as well, and my AI is also background is playing up. I'm wearing a Seiko Turtle. This is one I actually bought this one for my dad quite a long time ago, actually, because he was wearing his Speedmaster out in the garden and out on the tractor, and he's a one watch guy, and he was wearing this, really quite expensive Speedmaster out in the garden. So I was like, hey man, can't be having that, dude. So I bought him this Turtle, the two-tone one. It's actually a really cool watch, but it's running a little bit fast. So he gave it to me and said, oh, hey mate, can you get it looked at for me? So I'm just wearing it for a couple of days and running some tests on the timing and all that sort of stuff. So I was having a chat to the boys. I might see if I can get it regulated or something like that. So, yeah, rocking the Turtle today.
Nice. What about yourself, Ben?
I am wearing Grand Seiko SPGV 021, I think. It's like obviously co-signed. So dates it to 2016, 2017. Because they started to get rid of the Seiko signature from then on to try and break the American market. But
so that's not a 9F, is it? It's not a 9F.
It is. It's a 9F82.
Is it a 9F? Right,
yeah.
Got you.
So, I mean, the timekeeping on this is unbelievable. It loses about 1 second every 6 months, 2 seconds a year.
Right.
Wow, man, that's crazy.
I only know every 6 months because I have to adjust for daylight savings.
Right.
Incredible. They updated the movement in due course to make it a jump hour. So now in the Crown in the first position changed the date. But these days, the 9F, probably 9F92, maybe something like that, it operates like a GMT because they were putting that movement in their GMT quartz as well. But the best thing about this watch, please stop me if I've said this already, is the dial, the champagne dial. There's 12 processes. It's a more complicated dial to make than anything else in the Grand Seiko range, and that includes the Snowflake and the Skyflake.
Really? Wow. Blimey. So,
JCB, do you mind if I ask JCB, was your dad wearing a Hesalite Speedy in the garden?
No, he's got a Sapphire Speedy. He's got a Sapphire one. Not a Hesalite. No,
Hesi in the garden is a recipe for disaster.
I know. It would have been a disaster, but it actually is a disaster because the bracelet is fucked. Like it's just got because it's brushed. It's mainly brushed, so any little scratch shows up on the bracelet and the clasp. So it's a total dog's breakfast. So it was just painting. It was so painful, man. Seeing him going out there with a shovel and a pitchfork, doing planting his crops and all this sort of shit. Like, dude, come on, man, take the thing off. Just take it off, first. But like, no. So
So I'll just go through some of the chat. We got Watch Apprentice leaving a comment late last night. Unfortunately, can't make it to the show, but have a great stream. Thank you very much, Watch Apprentice. Much appreciated. Junior Johnson said he set his alarm clock. That was left last night.
Yeah.
And he's in the chat here.
Good to
Hello
see you,
from
JJ.
Michigan. Good to see you, JJ, as always. Jamie Opulence, wishing us all a good Saturday. Thank you very much, Jamie. We got Russell 996, the biggest, most opulent watch collector I know online, with the most awesome watch collection. We had a look at that after the show last week, didn't we, JCB? We had a look at his Instagram and
yeah, far
mind-boggling watches.
Thomas had never seen Russell's Instagram. I was like, Tom, you got to check this out. And we were there for like half an hour after the show. We were just going through it. It was mental. If you haven't,
mental watch collection, absolutely mental. If you want to drop the link to your Instagram, Russell, please do.
Yeah, give us a name tag, please. I'd love to see it. Yeah,
please do. Timely behavior. Good day. Good to see you, Timely. Great to see you, my friend. Jim Miller. Good to see you. Yeah. Kevin Hawthorne, stalwart viewer from Lakeland, Florida, up early in the morning, like JD. Rich Buddy, good to see you. Up even earlier in the morning. C Nord, happy Saturday. It was awesome to meet you at Watches Wonders, C Nord. Really loved meeting you. It was a great time. As I've posted the link, if anybody fancies joining us for our question and answers session, we're going to be doing a laid back informal question and answers session this week because life's been busy and I haven't been able to get a topic together really. So that's part of my excuse. So, but it doesn't mean it's going to be not good quality. Hopefully, yeah. A couple of comments. Timely says he misses Blue Ship, but he's a top bloke. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And Rich Buddy, time flies. Bruce was on my shows over 5 years ago now. Damn, yeah, 5 years. Yeah, it's 3 years ago since he passed. Timely saying the Casio has a cloaking device too, Abdul. Jim Miller saying he's wearing his 216570 Polo. Oh. Nice Polo Explorer, man. Get in there. We love our, me and Ben love our Polo. Well, and Abdul love our Polo Explorers. We're all Polo Explorer guys.
Yeah. You just have to drop the 2 for my own.
Yeah, mine as well.
The time saying the Caliber 11 was modular, so they were cheaters, JCB.
Cheaters, man.
We got one you see it. Good to see you, my friend. And original OC. Here's to Thomas and the panel. Thank you, OC. Good morning to you, my friend. Check out his channel. Yeah, if any of you've got a channel, please put the link in the chat for your channel. So Rich Buddy, Original OC, anybody watching, if you got a link to any links you want to share in the chat about articles or watches, or I mean Jim Miller, if you want to put the link to the Talking Time with Tim Mosso group, yeah, please, plenty of pics on Tim's group. Please drop the link to the Talking Time with Tim Mosso Facebook group in the chat. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would love to know more about that. So, guys, we'll get on with a couple of questions. The first one I wanted to pose to you. What are preferences on mechanical versus quartz and why? Now, Ben, you'll have a big opinion on this one. So we'll start with you.
Thanks, Tom. When I started into the hobby...
I'll start with you.
No pressure. When I started into the hobby, it was all mechanical. I didn't see any. There was no room for maneuver for a quartz to enter the collection at all. But I suppose the way I feel about it is, in terms of being a watch enthusiast, what's more, prescient for you? Is it aesthetics or is it the movement? And I don't know how I feel about it. There are some movements that I think are fantastic, like the 361 or the A361, those Speedmaster movements. They look great. But I think I definitely fall down in terms of aesthetics. And then you see what Cartier do in terms of their tank solo, etc. And to all intents and purposes, because it doesn't have a second hand, you'll never know it's quartz. And then, of course, you've got what Grand Seiko do with their 9F range, which is massively impressive. Oh, so impressive, in fact, that they're putting see-through casebacks on their quartz movements just to be able to see the level of finishing in there and to see the man-made quartz crystals and how long they last for between service intervals. They're supposed to last for 50 years, which is effectively forever. And aesthetically, certainly in terms of Grand Seiko, you could get something in the quartz range for literally half or maybe even a third of the price of what you pay for mechanical. So quartz is inherently cheaper. It's a fantastic technology. And like even Rolex dabbled in a quartz watch one time with their Oyster quartz, which has, certainly not in terms of the movement, but in terms of aesthetic and case shape, has made a revival recently. So I don't have the same... I'm not off-put by quartz in the way that I used to be, but I would certainly still favor mechanical or automatic over quartz.
Yeah, timely behavior is saying it's simple. Mechanical lasts for hundreds of years. Water damage can be repaired, and parts taken much longer to wear out. Whereas I guess he's saying that quartz, water damage, and it's bust.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fairly valid point, but I take your point, Ben. Yeah, it's aesthetics, isn't it? And that's what watches boil down to for most of us. It's just aesthetics, and we buy them on what we like the look of, not necessarily movement. Well, that could be the next sort of question. I mean, I'll take a response from the rest of you. JCB, what are your thoughts on quartz and mechanical?
All I'll do is I'll show you this, and this was not planned in any way. This is just what I happen to be having on my desk right now as we speak. Right, so this is just what I've got on my desk. Okay, I've got a Casio, I've got a Moon Swatch, I've got a Rolex GMT, and I've got a Seiko Turtle. Okay, I've got all these watches here. I've got two quartz watches, which I love wearing these watches. You know, they're convenient, they look cool, they're fun, they're light, they're cheap. I just chuck them on in the morning, and I just don't give a fuck what I do. You know, I'm out with the kids, I'm playing in the park, and you know what I mean. This one here I wear for work and, you know, special occasions, and not even. I just wear it when I want to fucking wear it, you know. Same with this one. This is my dad's watch, but I'm just wearing it to diver. So, you know, every collection you can have quartz, you can have your mechanicals. I think, as Ben was saying, at the start when we become enthusiasts, we become sort of mechanical snobs, and that's all we look at, right? We have this thing about, you got to be a watch enthusiast, and it's all about mechanical watches, and that's it. But you push through that, I think, as you get more experienced, and you're like, hey, they're cool watches. That quartz has a purpose too, and if you're cool with that, then you can have some fun, and you know they've got a place in every collection. There's nothing wrong with quartz if you're prepared to, you know, just wear it and have fun with it. You know, I see there's a place for quartz and mechanical in every collection.
Yeah, Time is saying quartz accuracy is second to none, though, and he's saying that electrical components wear out in decades, not centuries. True. Yeah, I guess. Abdul, you got an opinion?
Yeah, I'm wearing a quartz watch today. That shows you something, you know. Like I feel like I have several quartz watches. I have always quartz watches. I think they always have a place. And not only
you're a big solar powered fan, aren't you?
Exactly. Also watches that you can have 25 years, 30 years without any interference of battery, of any kind of watchmaker, and it will still keep, let's say, relative accuracy, not like Ben's watch. which is quite a feat as well to measure time with such accuracy. Something mechanical would never be able to do this, and I feel like why not, as exactly as GCB had. I have one here. I'm testing out this Miltado. It's such a nice quartz watch. I got a rubber strap on it, and basically it just has the purpose if I want to go out to the shops or go get anything from downstairs or whatever. I have a watch that I can put on that looks good, that I like, that looking at it to tell me the time without setting it, without doing anything. Just the functionality of it is sometimes feel like you say, Ben, aesthetics or availability, like you were saying, GCV. But for me, it's just how it's so easy, like easy to for me to have something to tell me the time always.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. Right?
Like Rich Buddy's pointing out about mechanical, his 2019 Patek 5196 stopped last year. He hardly used it. So I just had to get it serviced, and I bet that was an expensive service cost. We got Russell's Instagram, so please go and check this out if you're on Instagram. The Secret Watch Collector, at Secret Watch Collector.
Pour yourself a whiskey first, and then sit down.
Yeah. Pour yourself a drink. Log on to at Secret Watch Collector on Instagram. And prepare to get your mind blown by the watches that are on display. This is a tip. It'll be a treat. It'll be a treat for you. Absolute treat.
Hey, Rich buddy, I'm just interested to know why you didn't use your 5196. If you could just put it in the chat. I'm just sort of interested. Was it because it's a dress watch and you didn't really have occasion to wear it, or what was it about that watch that you didn't wear? Where I'm just interested to know.
Yeah, interesting. So while he's doing that, I'll give my opinion. I think it's. I started off with quartz. With mechanical originally, and then got into quartz. We'll go into quartz and digital watches. Then I think, like you say, JCB became a bit of a mechanical snob, and then, but now,
you see it around a lot in forums as well. Like people, that's just an opinion that people have. Like, oh, it's quartz, it can't be, it's not a real watch, and all that sort of mentality. Like that's really there.
Yep, definitely exists in the forums.
Yeah. So I became a bit of a mechanical snob, but now I got drawn back into it with a couple of cheaper watches, but I also bought an expensive watch for £1,500, which was military linked because I'm into military watches, and it was a high electric hybrid movement made by Ralph Tech, which is basically like a Seiko Kinetic. It's powered by a rotor that powers the quartz movement, and so and they're issued to military forces, special forces. So I got back into it because of that. Because if it's good enough for door kickers, well then it's good enough for. It's good enough for anyone, if it's a decent watch. So Rich Buddy's just getting back to me, back to you, JCB. The 5196 became his grail from the old AC3 videos as his quintessential Patek, and he just added a watch. I think you know the version.
Okay, we'll have to.
Don't know about that. Rick.
Instagram.
No.
Yeah, well, that's. I think Richard's comment there. It's probably like a topic for another conversation, even another show. Like the fact that Well, we get influenced by people, you know what I mean? Like you saw Archie with the 5196, and you see that watch, and you know someone's spruiking this watch the whole time. You see it, it looks beautiful, then you go and buy it. Yeah, that's not a cheap watch, man. A 5196, that's like 20 grand watch or something, and then you've got it, and then you're not really using it. You know, it's like for whatever reason, I'm not, you know, whatever rich, like I'm not saying, I'm not sort of making any judgments or anything.
Well, I think our collections get so big that we tend to. I find that collections get so big, you know, 15 watches or whatever, and you often end up just wearing 2 or 3 watches out of that collection.
Yeah.
And you often end up focusing on just a few watches out of that collection and wearing them regularly, and you just occasionally dip into the rest.
And probably more so as the years go on and you develop your taste.
Absolutely,
that you tend to fall back into. But even Archie himself, I just looking up the 5196. Archie had like 3 37mm Calatravas at the same time. I remember at one stage, of which the 5196 was one of them. But he had 3 almost like identical watches.
I think the 3 identical Pateks.
So 5 identical Pateks.
5, it's 5. It was 5. Yeah, that's right.
5. So I'll move on to another question. Our favorite complications. Now I know this is going to be your favorite complication, JCB, but I'll go through a few. Chronograph, calendar watch, GMT, minute repeater, other chiming watches. I put the Bel Canto, but there's also like the Zeitwerk striking hours, alarm watches. I mean, I put the Vulcan Cricket, but you could have the JLC Memovox or world timers now. So go through a few of those again. And what is your favorite complication?
Why don't we go from the top, Tom? Like starting with you and go to Abdul, then me, then Ben. What? Tell us what yours is.
For me, I'm a minute repeater guy. I absolutely adore them. I mean, I absolutely love minute repeaters. I think they're one of the most advanced complications. I know Russell 996 has got an amazing one that you'll see on his Instagram with the flanque dial, the Patek. I just love the fact that you can get a watch that you can pull this little trigger here down, and it will chime the time for you. It will tell you. You could be blind, and you could have the time told to you by a little chime of ding, 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 ding. You know,
the human minute repeater.
Yeah, you know, I just love it. I just love it. I love it.
I love your passion.
So Tom. So that's your favorite one, right? I know your Grail watch is like a Breguet, but it's not a minute repeater. Would you think about getting one, or like do you like it enough to want to get one and spend the money? Because I
couldn't afford a minute repeater. You're talking a couple of hundred thousand.
What about like something like, isn't the Bel Canto? Is that a?
We've got just a minute. We got our friend Timely Behavior with us. Hi, Timely. Good to see you, my friend.
Hey guys, I don't know how good my internet's going to be, but let's give it a go.
Yeah. Glad you can join us, my friend. Glad you could join us.
You twisted my arm.
You twisted my melon, man.
Okay, what's your favorite complication time, Lee? What's your favorite complication?
To be honest, I try to stay away from complications because they cost a lot of money to service and fix and repair. And I'll be honest with you, a whole bunch of them aren't really things we use every day. JCB is going to hate me because I'm going to say a chronograph is something to me that's virtually used. Look,
Yeah, your audio is cactus there, man. Sorry, bro. You want to flip out and maybe jump back in?
Sorry, guys.
No worries. Maybe hop out and jump back in. Yeah.
Okay, JCB, you go first. I know what your favorite one is. It's the chronograph, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the chronograph definitely is like it's my favorite, definitely. And I think because obviously I love the subdials and just the function, and it's just sort of like a step up from telling the time. You can actually time stuff, right? It's like you've got a stopwatch, a mechanical stopwatch on your wrist. Like how cool is that? But I think like probably if I had the money, then I would step up into like perpetual calendar. I think that would be. I really appreciate calendar watches as well, and especially like perpetuals as well, because they can adjust for leap years. Like that's crazy. That's absolutely mental when you think about like the watchmaking and the mechanics involved in that. And
have you a favorite perpetual calendar that you can think of? I mean.
Well, look, my actual Grail watch combines the two. It's a chronograph perpetual calendar. Okay, so
right,
a Patek 5970P. That's my ultimate Grail watch.
Right,
it's got a perpetual and a chronograph. Right, so
cheap watch.
Yeah, exactly. That's mega bucks. But out of perpetual calendars, my actual just perpetuals, the one I would go for is the JLC Master Ultra Thin Perpetual Calendar. Absolutely beautiful watch. I think it actually shares some of the architecture or the movements with IWC.
I think that gets a thumbs up from Timely's JLC fan, aren't you, Timely?
Yeah, I am. Beautiful piece. What can I say? I'm not going to complain about it.
Abdul, what's your favorite? What complication do you go for?
I usually like actually no complications, but the like if I would have a Grail complication, it would be the remontoire. It would be the like
right.
That would be my, just to have something on the dial that every 8 seconds gives you a like a turbo boost, like when you're driving you're doing a kick down and the turbo just cries or has like a loud sound. I feel like that's the same thing on the dial, and that for me would be, if I would choose one complication to have, that would be the one. But from the list here, I think GMT is quite useful for me, especially when traveling. But other than that, like I said, the quartz does all the complications that for functionality, let's say, that I need while traveling. But to enjoy, I enjoy more like clean dials and the design and time only. Even sometimes I don't mind having minutes and hours, no seconds, like the Philippe Picluc that I have. It doesn't have seconds. I don't mind it at all, especially it's dress watch that I wear when I'm not stressed for time, like I'm not going to look at the time every 10 seconds to know if the train is coming or flight or whatever. That would be something like this, or a quartz watch that's very precise.
I've got a few different opinions here. Rich pretty likes time only and chronographs, and a bit like a mixture between Abdul and Timely and JCB, really. So we've got Abdul, we've got Timely and Abdul liking time only. We've got JCB on chronographs.
Sorry, Thomas, there is one complication I do like. How's the audio, first of all? Good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
yeah, it's
audio.
good,
good
yeah.
audio.
mate.
Yeah, all right. So here's a note to everyone. Bluetooth headsets are garbage. Use a cord only. There you go. So technology, rubbish. So for me, the complication I like the best, or the one I guess I can use daily, is a alarm complication, right? So I've got
Yes.
a mechanical alarm. I've got a Bellmatic. It's one of the first ones, so 68. And not only is it an alarm watch, so I can set it to what I want, but also it's got an inner rotating bezel, so I can use it in the same way that you would time things with your diver for your day-to-day life, right?
Yeah.
You know, we all just twist the bezel and go, cool, at this time I need to do something. I've got that
Sure.
function as well. So for me, I guess that's the more practical option.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Nice. I like the alarm. I love the memo box. That was a
Yeah.
classic watch. I wish I'd bring it back.
Everyone
Yeah.
sort of had their own model too. So JLC with the Memovox. You had obviously the Bellmatic,
Tudor
the
had one.
Seiko, the Cricket. Omega had, what was it? The I forgot what they call it now, but they had one as well. Everyone had one.
Yeah.
Well, what about you then?
I'm just looking at pictures of the Bellmatic. It's a gorgeous watch. Number one, since Timely Behavior brought it up, but it looks really easy to set the alarm on it as well. I suppose, like, I find it's like the whole independence question. I find it really, really hard to consider watches that are like so far out of my comfort zone and league money wise that the likes of perpetual calendars and minute repeaters, I just don't think so much about them. But there is a grail I'll get onto in a minute. But in terms of my own collection, I think everybody needs a chronograph, and I love the GMT function. But my grail in terms of functionality is actually the same as JCB's, but it's the other powerhouse of watchmaking from Germany, and the ALS Datograph, the Saxonia Datograph Perpetual, a combination of a perpetual and a chronograph. To me, and the big date and how legible it is, regardless of how many functions there.
Yeah, nice.
But it's a grail in the true sense of the word grail, because we
ain't affording those things.
Another cheap watch.
Yeah, we ain't gonna be buying them. That's
come on, guys. Can't you guys put out something a bit more expensive than that? You guys are in the shallow end of the price range here.
I do, just to say as well, Tom. For a start, your minute repeater impression was spot on, by the way. But also, like, the minute repeater as a function is very, very old. Like, it's classic. It was in grandfather clocks, when it was dark. Going back to the days there was no electricity, where you could hit something on the grandfather clock and it would chime out the time for you.
It's got that romance, That's what about minute repeaters. It's a like, I call it in my head. I think it's a romantic complication because of all of that, Ben. It's like the watchmakers back in the day. That's what they were thinking, chiming and.
Yeah,
I love it how you're talking about, this beautiful romantic sound of chiming, where my Bellmatic sounds like a cricket with a wasp stuck up its ass when it goes off.
Oh man, that's a proper Australian thing to say.
Good to see you watch. Good to see you watch Bronco, and Richard is saying he'll stay away from perpetuals because he doesn't have the discipline to keep them on a winder. Yeah, it's a thing with a lot of calendar watches, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
So we'll move on from. Sorry, JCB, go on.
No, I was going to say that's the only thing that scares me about forking out for a perpetual is just it's always going to be on a winder. But I've got a winder anyway, so I'll just chuck it on there. So
I had the same fears when I bought the Bellmatic as well. With all that money that I was laying down.
Okay, so next, what materials interest the most? Steel, carbon, ceramic, titanium, tantalum, zirconium, gold, platinum, or plastic, bioceramic? I mean, what? We'll start with you, Abdul. What do you like material-wise?
I think steel would be like that number one choice, just because it's normal. But I have to say, I enjoy bronze so much with this watch. I enjoyed titanium so much with a couple of watches I tested out. I think it just depends on what you want this watch for. I have the Tissot Cedral with carbon case. Amazing watch for the trip. It was perfect when I in the hot weather, very light but not too light that I feel like I don't have any watch on my wrist. So I think for me, I like the sweet spot of having a light material that is durable and feels good on the wrist. So it's between titanium, carbon, and even sometimes bronze. I have to say, it's just because it feels different. Like I cannot wear it anyways, but
It's got
somehow
a bit of a life to it, doesn't it? Bronze,
Yeah.
it patinas and it's
Exactly.
getting changes.
Exactly, it lives, and that's why I'm like, when I want to buy a watch, I would like to have like silver also to test out to see.
Yeah,
I'm also good with having the watch that ages, because I enjoy this about this watch. So I think I would like that.
Yeah. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, same as Abdul. Steel. In terms of the honest answer, it's steel, because I can't afford any of the precious metals. I did own a Zelos watch before. That was an 8-day. It was a Mirage watch, and the case on it was a mixture of zirconium and titanium.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And they
Cool.
do a lot of cool stuff at the relatively affordable. That guy Elshin Tang, I think his name
Elshin
was.
Tang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from Singapore, I think.
Yep.
So he loves to experiment with different kinds of materials, and kudos to him. And it was a cool watch for a time.
Real cool stuff.
Yeah, but in time, I guess it felt a little novelty. So I ended up moving it on because it was zirconium and titanium. It ended up with a striped effect. To all intents and purposes, it looked a bit like the Humbug sweets.
Right.
But really interested to hear Abdul's take on bronze and the patina effect. I know not everybody likes that, so it's great to hear from somebody who does. And the silver. Anybody who owns a 925, is it 925?
Oh, the 95 Tudor,
The Tudor, absolutely love that watch. They love it. They love it.
Yeah.
So
like
I could maybe see that in my future. I love yellow gold. If I could yellow gold, a watch that's always stood out to me was a yellow gold Daytona on Oyster Flex. Amazing.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Timely. Are you a material man? Are you
a little bit. So it's a vintage thing with me, right? So my watches are either vintage or they're like heritage, vintage inspired, I guess, like the Reverso, majority of my watches are stainless. Some of the vintage ones, a couple of them are like brass under with like a plating on top, because that's what they did back then. But for me, I guess the special material, the one that I like the most, would be yellow gold. I've got a 1969 Seamaster Genève that's solid gold, and it's, I guess, it was the first, solid gold piece I ever got. And there's something about it. There's a warmth about it in different lighting. The way the facets, when they're polished from factory correctly and everything, the way the light hits it and all that, it's a special watch. So for me, there's something timeless about the yellow gold thing, right? It's been around since the beginning. I'm sure it's going to be around at the end.
Right. JCB, by yourself?
I actually really love ceramic, actually. I think that's, oh man, like one of my favorite watches is the AP ceramic skeleton perpetual calendar. So it's the AP, the QP skeleton in black. Man, such a cool watch. Obviously, like that's a $500,000 watch. I'll never be able to afford it, but just the look of black ceramic, the lightness, the feel of it, it's just awesome. I can't. The ceramic watches that I like, I can't afford at the moment. But if I could get one, I'd love to have a ceramic AP for sure.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Jim Millett's saying he loves ceramic as well. He's got a bathyscaphe. Hasn't got a single mark on the watch, and it's
Ceramics, yeah, it's a great material. Like, it doesn't scratch. It looks great. Obviously, it's brittle, and you need to be careful. Don't drop it off the fucking side of your bedside table or something, because you're totally screwed if that happens. You know, there's pros and cons with sort of every material. Obviously, ceramic, there's some big cons, but if you're careful with the watch, then it can really reward you, and you have a beautiful watch for the rest of your life, really.
Well, yeah, I guess, like you're saying, it depends on how you wear your watches, right? So I've got a couple of watches, even my beta watches, I guess, get taken care of. Like, I can't bring myself to, you know, like they rub up against something. I can't do that. So even my shit watches still look good. So if you're someone that takes care of your stuff and you generally, you know, watch what you're doing and you're careful, ceramic's fine. There's no issue with it. But if you're a clumsy fucking, like, what's his name, National Lampoons or something, maybe go for something a bit stronger.
National Lampoons.
Yeah. Plastic G-Shock for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of titanium. I'm a fan of titanium, to be honest with you. I've got titanium Panerai, and I've worn that for over a decade now, and more than nearly a decade and a half. Because it's such a big, heavy watch, 44 mil titanium, and it came on a bracelet. Titanium made it so much more wearable, and lighter.
Yeah.
But tell you what, it's a bit of a metal. It scratches really easily.
Okay.
It's really hard to polish,
and
it's a really hard, weird material to.
It's a bitch of a material to work with, apparently.
Yeah. So I love titanium watches, and I'm really coming around to carbon watches as well. I really like carbon, the look of carbon. I like carbon. Sorry, Timely, you were saying?
No, you're right. Sorry, just because it's for me, it's delayed because my internet's garbage. First world country, third world internet. So the thing for me as well that I want to bring up while we're talking about material is stainless steel. So you've got, what is it, 316, and what's Rolex use again?
904.
904, right? I've got both. I've got the Explorer one, and then I've got everything else that I have that's in stainless. And I mean, the closest thing I'm going to get, I guess, to that would be, let's say, the Black Bay, right? Because I got one of them. Hey, mate. And they, like everyone says, that, you know, the kind of polish that you get on the 904 or whatever, the Rolex stainless is phenomenal. It's this, it's a, and it is. It's a lovely polish. JCB's got Rolexes, so you can probably, you know, attest to it. But I'll be honest with you, the polish on the Black Bay, and it's a different stainless, to me looks almost the same. Unless I put them side by side, I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
I love titanium too, Tom. I've got a titanium chronograph upstairs, a Seiko one, a quartz one as well, actually. And this, it's so light and so easy to wear. It's got a few scratches here and there, but who cares really? Like the fact that it's like, I've actually polished it up. I grabbed a Dremel and I was able to polish it up a little bit. Look, it took a little bit of extra work, but it turned out pretty good. So it's not totally. I think a lot of people have a stigma against titanium. I think it's super hard to work with. Yeah, it's harder than steel for sure, but you put a bit of elbow grease in and you can get some shine out of it.
How funny is it the first time you pick up a titanium watch, though? You're expecting this hefty weight. You almost lob it over your shoulder or something, picking it up.
Well, it makes perfect sense in terms of a Panerai, though, Tom. I didn't realize your watch was titanium. Like for a 44 mil, for a big, fuck off watch, for want of a better expression, it's the perfect material for that.
Yeah.
And your arms stay the same length.
My next question was going to be, would you buy a precious metal watch? And Timely's already answered that. He would, he would.
Yeah, I would too. Just to Timely's, I agree with everything Timely said on vintage solid gold watches. I did own, now I think it was 14K, a vintage Omega, beautiful with alphanumerics all the way around the dial, and the warmth of that watch, it felt special wearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something else. Like you see pictures of it on the net or whatever, and you go, yeah, okay, cool. But when you see it in person, so when I saw mine, it was a friend of mine who's a watchmaker that was selling it, and he goes, "Oh, what do you think of this thing?" And I saw it, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is something special."
Yeah.
And that's when I had to shoot the lock off the wallet to get it. But yeah, pictures don't do it justice. When you see it in person, it's something else. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ben mentioned a Daytona on Oysterflex before.
Yeah.
What a watch.
Fuck, man, those rose gold Daytonas on Oysterflex. I would love one of those, man. They're just one of the hottest watches going around. They're so cool. Those watches make me want a precious metal watch. Like seeing Dodge's Pikachu, and like the rose gold ones. They're just they're fucking beautiful, man. I would have one of those in a heartbeat for sure.
When you say Oysterflex, I keep thinking of back in the day. Like I know the Pepsi GMT had it. It came out with it initially as well. There used to be an Oyster bracelet it was spring loaded, so you could stretch it like a stretchy bracelet. It had the clasp at the bottom like a normal Rolex, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't have to use it if you didn't want to. You could stretch it and take it off. That was initially called the Oysterflex back in the day. Not what we think. Yeah.
It's like in the 70s or something.
Yeah. It was really cool. It's a standard Oyster bracelet. It had rivets. It tapered like like a vintage bracelet that Rolex comes out with. But it stretched. It was like a stretchy bracelet.
Oh wow! Didn't know that. Okay.
So I'd love a white gold watch. I can't do flashy yellow golds. I like rose gold. I love rose gold, but white gold for me is more under the radar in the UK. I feel something you can actually wear. You're not going to get stolen off you. It's I do appreciate yellow gold. I love rose gold. It's probably my favorite, but white gold is the kind of watch I would buy, I think.
Yeah. The rose gold Yachtmaster on Oysterflex is a killer watch as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got my own Breguet, white gold Breguet, as you all know. And Abdul, what about yourself? Are you a fan of precious metal?
For me, don't match so much, but the only one I think that would be a match for me would be platinum, because I cannot wear gold. As a man Muslim, we cannot wear gold, but platinum.
Oh,
yeah. So platinum.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah.
Abdul's basically gone along and said, "Gold, how pedestrian."
Yeah. So
I never knew that. So if you're Muslim, you can't wear gold, white gold, yellow gold, no, nothing.
Yeah, Muslim men.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So how much do we feel comfortable spending on a watch? That's another one. How much do you feel comfortable spending on a watch? For me, it's I find the 5,000 ballpark. It used to be the 5,000 ballpark. Now it's been elevated to the 10,000 ballpark. And when I first got into watches, it was the 5,000 ballpark. Now it's the 10,000 ballpark. But I'm looking at watches which are in the 20. I'm looking at the watches. The Breguet is in the 20,000 ballpark, but I don't feel comfortable walking around with a 20,000 pound watch on my wrist.
Tom, you're looking at 250,000 minute repeaters.
Yeah. I mean, if I was Russell, but I mean, I'd be there all day long. But I don't feel comfortable.
Let's just say, Tom, though, you won Tats Lotto or Powerball or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Let's just say tomorrow you won £30 million, right? How would you feel then about buying an MB&F?
No problem.
Like it's sort of relative to your financial situation, right? That's what this question is all about. what can you afford really, right? That's
Yeah.
what it feels like for me. Like for me, it's like I'm the same like you. 10 grand at the moment with my financial situation. That's it for me. Like the next watch I'm going to buy is going to be probably about 9 grand or something.
Actually.
But hey, if I fucking won Powerball tomorrow, mate, I'd be flying over to the MB&F showroom and buying up the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
it's just for me. I feel like it just
He
depends.
would have an autographed engraved by Max himself, you know, on the side of the case.
UJCB from Max.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
best wishes. Enjoy the watch. Look, for me, I'm in the same ballpark as you guys, right? So I'm saying like the 10 mark. But at the same time, if it's something that I've gotten so cheap from what I know its secondhand retail value is, it makes me feel a lot better knowing that if I ever needed to, I could get out of it and get more, like same or more. So it's comforting to know. But yeah, I'm in the same ballpark.
Yeah. Anyone else got any input on that one?
Yeah, very same. When I bought the Explorer 2, that was like 8. And it kind of, that to me was a leap because before that it was a Speedmaster, which was retailing with a discount at the time for 5. And in order to reach on the Explorer 2, it was like combining a Speedmaster and a Black Bay 58. And you're like, you know, to go to the next level, even though it's 8, like you're throwing figures around like, oh, 8 is not too far from 5. But in reality, when you're dealing with, you know, your budget, when you're thinking like, I'm in the 10K ballpark, like, there's a big difference between 10K, 8K, 5K. So to have to combine 2 of what were the epitome of my collection to get 1, that really emphasized in my brain the value of that piece. At the moment, I couldn't go around with a watch that exceeded 10,000. And the difficulty with that is that, you know, I love a Datejust, but they're 10K plus now. Certainly in Europe, in terms of euro value, they're 10K plus. And I don't know if they're worth that. Everything is going up in value. But then, you know, I just don't think that level of watch would suit me. It wouldn't suit my lifestyle, my dress sense, my big Irish bogman redhead. I don't think it would suit any of those things. I think to wear a fancy, you know, well, a neo vintage sports Rolex is as good as it's going to get. I'm happy with that at the moment. Maybe things will change. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who remembers the days of you would go to the shopping center and see something and go, oh no, fuck that, that's $450. That's too much. I'm not buying that.
Yeah. I remember those days, certainly. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, the whole watch hobby just changes the game in terms of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd never buy. You start out like I'd never buy a Rolex. I'd never spend 5K on a watch. And like 4 years into it, you're like, yeah, it's only 10K. You're like, it's crazy.
Absolutely, yeah. I think even there is a threshold that every time you go above, and then it's like, it's just 1,000 euros. It's a deal for this watch. It's a new micro brand, or it's 2,000 euros, but you're supporting an independent watchmaker that will sometime in the next 5 years be big or whatever, and then you try to create narratives in your brain, and then you end up with 17, 18 watches, and you feel like, it's okay, the next watch should be exceeding that or that amount. So I think it's with the evolution of time and the evolution of taste and liquidity, it just transforms. Like for me, I even went to that every time I had money set out to update my car, I found the watch that I bought it with. And I end up, I really need the Explorer. Yeah, I really need the Explorer. Yeah, your car is 225,000 kilometers. It needs to change, not one more watch to your 16 watch collection. You know, like sometimes it's then you addiction. I know how it works. So I feed the addiction. Okay, I know that I will, for this year, I will buy one watch that will have this amount, so I will feed this addiction by concentrating on one big purchase instead
Abdul,
of small.
just pause some, stop smoking it. It'll keep going for another year or so. Don't worry about it. It's good.
But you're like, kids don't need clothes or to be clean, or they don't need to be fed that often or anything like that.
Overrated food.
You can sell them, actually. You can sell kids. Their kids
So,
are good. Sorry.
Has anyone got a favourite time display method? Like, this is a retrograde. I mean, I like the Otsuka low-tech retrograde, the Model 6. This is a jump. This is another retrograde. There's a jump hour. Another Abdul's a fan of that. There's a regulator, which is another one. Or is it just plain orthodox time telling that we're fans of? Timely, what do you like?
Well, I'm a plain Jane, three-hander, even two-hander. I really don't give a shit, depending on the watch. So if it's something like a Cartier tank or something, two-hander's fine. Beautiful.
Do you like two-hander and a subdial? Do you like
that? I've got some of my vintage watches. Like I've got a vintage Tissot from '53, gold watch, two-hand, and it's the jumbo small seconds at the bottom. So beautiful, no problems. But
I really like
that first one you had, that retrograde, I can read the time, but that would shit me.
That one?
No, that one.
Yeah.
That would shit me because I'd have to stop and work it out.
Yeah.
I'm just used to looking at a three-hander or two-hander going, cool, it's half past
agreed,
this, or past 6 or whatever, but this would just be like, cool. Now I have to get an abacus out and flip the leaves across and flip. Nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
So, Ben, what about you? You the same?
Look, I have a complete blind spot on a watch like that's on screen at the moment. It's just like, move on, please.
What about when a retrograde goes like this, when it goes more pointer?
Kind of makes me a bit dizzy. I mean, I get it, and I'd grow accustomed to it. I'll never forget the first time I looked at a GMT Sprite, a Destro GMT Sprite. I nearly fainted. With the date over on the left, and I was like, oh.
I totally respect the engineering that goes into a retrograde movement, right? And obviously there's a place for it, and hobby people love it. It's just not. When I look at it, I like to know exactly what time it is and move on. I don't want to see shit flicking around or
Yeah.
What I always appreciate, and I think Omega probably do it as well as anybody, is a chronograph that's legible. Like if you can make a chronograph legible with all those subdials, I really appreciate the design and the thought that goes into something like that. I don't think the Daytona has quite the same, even though it's a more iconic watch, it doesn't have the same legibility as a Speedmaster.
No.
I guess Caliber 11 would probably be the most legible chronograph I know, because it's a simple 2-register chronograph. The hands and the indices or indexes have, the hands have got some orange on them and everything, so they stand out a bit more when you're looking at it on a darker blue background. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
so you've got legibility, but still.
There's a level of thought gone into that you can appreciate.
Because they used to be used as a racing driver's watch to some degree, and I mean, you don't want to be like smashing it down the straight at Le Mans or something and looking too long at your watch and missing the break point at the end, would you? So
Junior Johnson says he's been looking at Wandering Hours watches here, and Edward Ledden says he dreams of an Urwerk in his collection. So another Wandering Hours. So Wandering Hours is another complication, another sort of time display. And like even on the Mad 1, the MBNF Mad 1, you get that drum, which is a time readout. Which
sorry, just for my understanding, because I'm a bit ignorant on this one. What's a Wandering Hours?
Wandering Hours is where it's like three wheels, or where I have to pull one up.
Yeah, sorry. It's a bit of a
AP
pain in the
Star
ass.
Wheel.
Can you
The
pull
AP
one up,
Star Wheel is
JCB? Can you
famous
pull
one.
one up? Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, I know what you mean now. Yeah. Bring it up anyway, just for fun. But yeah, I know what you mean now.
Do you want me to present, Tom, or?
Yeah, anyone, whoever wants to pull one up.
Yeah, I've got one up on a tab. Got the Star Wheel up. I'm gonna have a look at that.
Like this Vacheron on the screen, it's a beautiful piece. Looks fantastic. You could see, like, you know, the level of finishing and all that's gone into it as well. I know it's not going to be an everyday watch, but I couldn't live with it as an everyday watch either. I mean, it's supposed to be, I guess, with the calendar at the bottom, the daily, you know, like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But again, mate, simple Bellmatic, day, date, alarm, automatic. I should be doing an ad for him. Yeah, okay, this I get. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one.
yeah.
So you prefer time only, Ben, and timely. Jesse B, what about you?
I think so. Generally, right, when we grow up and we learn to read the time, we learn to read the time just on a three-hander watch, right? You know, hours, minutes. So I think we've grown up with that, and that's what we think of. So anything that's outside of that is a bit weird. But I think so I think that's probably why, like, we're, you know, most people are, you know, we prefer just to have like a two-hander or a three-hander, the traditional looking watch. But like for the novelty factor, I really like regulators. I think they're pretty cool. But my favorite watch, like one of the watches that got me into right down the rabbit hole, was the Zeitwerk. So that's got a digital display
digital
on a watch.
display. Yeah.
You know, I think that's like, and it's not like my favorite time telling, you know, like display or whatever, but I just love that watch. There's just
Cool.
something so cool about that watch that I just love. It's just a fucking great watch. Digital display in a mechanical watch, like, come on, man, it's just so cool. But yeah, I love, you know, regulator watches as well. I think would be my second one. After the Zeitwerk, I'd get like an Acrivia, you know, regulator or something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with a watch though when you have to take a photo of it and ask Chat GPT what time it is though. Yeah. Not that watch specifically, JCB. I'm just saying, like in general, like Star Wheel. I looked at it and went,
"Oh yeah, you're like, what the
fantastic,"
hell is
but I've got no friggin' idea what time that is.
Well, that was sort of my point about, you know, when we grow up and we learn to read time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what
Different
that's
level.
our brain is used to that. So anything outside of that is weird. Like a regulator,
Accelerators on the right, brakes in the middle, clutches on the left.
yeah, exactly. Like, I think even a regulator, right? When you look at that, your brain needs to, you know, understand what's happening. You need to look at two dials and figure out the time. It takes a second to. You have to engage with the watch a little bit.
I'm
right?
a simple guy. That's too much complication for me.
Yeah, but I mean, so I feel like different time telling modalities are sort of a bit of a novelty, I suppose. It's like you have, you know, you have a regulator or a star wheel or whatever as a bit of a wild horse sort of watch in your collection.
Yeah. What about you, Abdul?
Yeah, I would definitely same feeling as GCB because the Zeitwerk is my grail. Jump Hour is definitely on top of the collection, top of the complication I would like to add.
Jump Out is cool, man. I like Jump Out too.
And the second favorite one negates all of this. It's the Crazy Hours Frank Mueller. This complication of jumping from 1 hour to another and in different positions, which usually the analog time telling is so easy, you know, like, okay, that's 10 to 10. So you just look at a glance on the watch and you know what time is it. But with
is that like on the
like
what's
this
it called?
Hours. Just turn my screen. This one. The idea of having time to tell, like, that's when the hour hand jumps.
Yeah, the Frank Muller, that's the one.
Yeah, it moves around.
Moves around. So basically, the 8 o'clock is at the 12 o'clock position if you're reading it analogically. Well, it's just mine.
This is some trippy shit. This one.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you've had a couple of swatches, man, forget about reading the time on this sucker.
Exactly. If you're
Yeah,
That is cool though.
forget about
I looked at it and initially went, man, this is a cool looking watch. And then I saw the numerals and I'm like, get fucked.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with this thing?
Well, the hour hand jumps around. So
This is like when, what was it? The Eking was 6, what was it? 9, 6, and 9 or something. Or was it 3, 6, and 3? They were stuffed up on a dial. There's one out there with, mechanical. They stuffed up on the production line that slipped through or something.
Yeah.
That's what this reminded me of. Looking at it again, no.
It's a very cool looking watch though.
great to see you, Watch Apprentice. Great to see you, Scarlett Santana. Good to see
Hey,
you, my
Watch
friend.
Apprentice. Great to see you, man.
As I say, if any of you have got channels, please leave the links to channels in the description, or what am I saying? Please leave the links to your channels in the chat. You've got wrenches, so please leave the links to your channels in the chat. I know Scarlett Santana's got one.
I'm too lazy to start a channel.
Okay, so yeah. Next up, do we have any favorite platforms that we like to buy from? Like sort of Chrono 24, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, ADs, or secondary grey market dealers. I mean, I use European Watch Company as an example. There's loads more. There's Watchfinder. There's David SW. There's
David SW.
yeah. There's loads more.
I was
So
waiting for one of us to do it.
there's loads more. I mean, there's Watchfinder in the UK. I mean, don't know what you got in Australia. I mean, it's a big.
We got a few trusted sort of dealers in Australia. The Watch Gallery, European Watch Gallery. But look, I've used most of the platforms. I'll be honest and say the ones that I like the best are actually on Facebook, not Facebook Marketplace, but Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, Facebook forums, like specific watch selling forums, right? For selling groups. In Australia, we've got a couple. We've got Australian Watch Market. We've got Australian Watch Buy, Sell, Swap. There's 3 or 4 groups on Facebook. There's a few big ones. The reason I like it is because there's no fees. Okay, Chrono 24, they take a clip. eBay takes a clip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're on Facebook in a group where there's trusted sellers within these groups.
Yeah.
And you can also, for individuals, you can ask for references from the group. Have you dealt with Tom Jones? Have you you can put that out there and you can get references and all that sort of stuff. For me, that's probably been I found the best because it's just you don't have to pay. You're not paying any platform fees to anyone. So that's been the best for me.
Forums type places.
Yeah.
Ben, I know that for you, there's in Ireland, you use a platform called adverts.ie.
I was just thinking about that, Tom, whether I'd mention it or not, because I suppose like the watch hobby in Ireland is bigger than you would expect. Adverts, we have 2 buy and sell. They're just buy and sell platforms, generic buying. Everything is sold on the washing machines, cars, adverts, and Done Deal. Done Deal, I never use that for watches. But adverts, like there's always, a good selection of Seikos, Omegas, Rolexes. It's a feedback-based system. So you can have full confidence in who you're buying from, generally speaking. People like to meet, so Ireland is a small country, so you can pretty much travel. You're never traveling any more than 200 miles to get from one end to the other. So you can meet everybody, view the watch, and have a proper look. And people will meet you at jewelers. So there's a lot of advantages to it to verify authenticity. But in terms of, I suppose, like, I don't know how it is. It's very interesting to listen to people who are trading in Australia or the US or anywhere outside of Europe. Once you're trading, you need to stick within the European Union because anything outside of that, you're talking about adding about
Tax.
somewhere between 33% and 50% of the advertised price onto it in terms of VAT, customs, and all the rest of it. So when I'm looking at watches, I always filter first by EU and then by price. Now, Chrono 24, I've sold dozens of watches on. The sheer reach of that platform is unbelievable. Yes, it's a 6.5% fee that may have actually increased. I don't know. But if you're priced right, you get a really good indication of what watches are going for. In actual fact, generally my tack, and bearing in mind that I'm not dealing in very expensive watches, everything is, for the most part, probably under a few thousand. So my tactic is always to advertise it as the cheapest in Europe for a quick sale, because once you make your mind up, and usually it goes really within days, if not weeks. Nothing's ever sitting up there for months. So if you're prepared to deal with the fee, just the sheer reach of Chrono 24 and its position in the watch sphere's mindset, I just think there's huge advantages to it.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared off about Chrono 24. I'm on eBay. I stick to eBay. Don't mind the fees. I've just never dabbled in Chrono 24. It scares me about all the having to FedEx things to different countries and do all that, because
I found Chrono 24 is actually quite good because they've got an escrow service as part of the platform. Like that gives you a lot of security, particularly as a
Come on,
buyer.
man, live on the edge, escrow.
Well, that's it. I think that's probably one of the bigger selling points about their platform is that
the security of it.
eBay they don't have that. eBay has the authenticity service now, which they added on, which is a good thing, I suppose. But the thing, with both of those, particularly eBay, like the fees are ridiculous. Like if you're selling, you're going to have a big fee that you have to pay to eBay, so you're going to pass that on to the buyer. So if you're
it's free to sell it on eBay at the moment, but the purchasers they do get a purchasing fee put on the purchasers. The buyer does get a fee put on. You're right,
like it comes to the seller has to pay that fee to eBay, right? Like it's part of the like when you sell a watch on eBay, you have to pay, I don't know, whatever, it's like something ridiculous, like 20%,
like 12% or some shit. You get stung pretty hard here in Australia.
It's a lot, man. No, it's a lot. 15% or something.
Yeah, like it's pretty bad.
So you're going to build that into your sales price. So the prices on eBay are always going to be
inflated.
But you've got a much larger audience. You've got it's a worldwide platform, obviously. So you can, if you're not having, I find with me, Ben, I sold a Zelos actually on eBay because I had it on an Australian Facebook forum, or two forums, no buyers on that forum. Put it on eBay, sold it within fucking 2 days or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you got like a much big, but I had to put the price up. Because of the fee that I had to pay to eBay.
Fees,
yeah.
Well, we do it all the time when we're selling watches here. Myself and Tom are on a forum in Ireland, and so you put the thing up on Chrono 24, and then you can immediately offer for a discount locally. So if we in our forum we have listed on Chrono 24 for this, but for you we could reduce by 500-600 because of that 6.5% fee. But what you're saying about the escrow thing is actually probably the main advantage of Chrono 24.
Yeah.
And you don't have to commit to when the buyer receives the watch, they have to click a button to release the funds out of it, and they don't need to do it immediately. So they have I think they have 30 days, 28 days to go get the watch, bring it to a jeweler's, get it authenticated. But these are for the obviously for the high value items. I see in the comments as well, just people mentioning Watchfinder. I have dabbled with Watchfinder before in terms of trying to sell a watch to them, and yeah, they're what they offered me was good. The smoothness of the emails and everything, they were really good. And I know people who've bought watches from Watchfinder, and it's excellent, like excellent service.
They seem to be one of the people who give the best prices when he's selling as well. I've heard. And
the beauty from our viewpoint is because they are probably a UK company originally, is they have set up a base now in Paris. So
and America, they're in America now as well. Yeah,
so you can look to the EU side. That whole VAT thing that I was talking about, they've negated it.
Well, they bought a big German company, didn't they? They bought a big German dealer.
Didn't know that. Right. Very
timely. You must sell a lot of watches, buying and fixing them and doing them up and getting rid of them.
I've bought and sold over the past 10 years. I've pretty much stopped now. It's a very low trickle now, but I've probably had more than 2,000 watches pass in my hand.
Wow!
But they're not all Rolexes and Omegas and JLCs.
Sure.
So basically, my whole ethos was
vintage.
I start off with a Seiko for a few $100, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, build a collection. And I've done that over 10 years. That's how long it took me. So my first piece of advice is trust fucking no one. Know the watch you want to buy. Research the living crap out of it. Know the ins and outs completely of it, especially vintage.
Especially vintage. 100%.
Yeah.
Now, from the other show, when I'm saying that's a redial, that's the bridges are service bridges, this, that, the other. I know it because I had a deep dive into it to learn all this shit, so that when I bought something, I knew I could sell it as a genuine piece and not get fleeced on the buying price, right? So I've probably bought 90% of my watches from Facebook. And I'm talking about the ones in my own collection, my keepers. They weren't from Marketplace, they were from groups. And the people in these groups were people that I've built a relationship with over a long period of time, like Benji and a few others like that, right? And it's not so much like you trust these people, you don't trust these people, but over a period of time they're selling genuine items. I've authenticated them with other people as well, and that's the way it is. Now with stuff I'm buying to on-sell, I'm trying to buy it as cheap as possible, but I'm also trying to buy it in the best condition as possible. And I refused to buy anything that was redialed, hand changes, unless I had them or could get them easily. Like everything had to go out original, right? And vintage Omegas are minefields. Anyone that wants a vintage Omega, like I said, really know your shit, because you've got one caliber of watch in probably up to 10 different cases with 8 different handsets. Especially when you get to like 50s watches, you have Seamasters that are like 2853-something or 2848- and each dash has like a -1, -2, -3, -4, all the way to dash like 7 or 8. Each one has a different handset, or the indexes are different. There's something about it that's different. So it's a minefield. So really research what you want to buy. That's my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah, I've seen that with vintage Omega. And like as part of the research, if you see a watch on one of the forums, like the first thing I will do is search that watch and try and find images where the dial and the hands and the case are same. See, is there other examples of that watch out there? And when you start getting into vintage Omega, for exactly the point that you were saying, that begins to prove difficult, because there was, as you said, there's so many cases, so many hands, so many dials from that 50s period.
If you're buying vintage Omega, the second hand, even if it's a sub-second dial, whatever, like a like an old school pocket watch kind of looking one, or if it's a long second hand. You also have the ones where the dial, the seconds track is more towards the middle, like a pipe band or something.
Yeah.
The second hand tip has to meet the indexes, like as in the painted on ones.
Okay.
If it doesn't, it's the wrong handset. Yeah, number one. Number two, the loom on the hands. If it has loom on the hands and there's no loom at the indexes, like the dot or the line or whatever, again, it's the wrong one straight away. Just as a quick reference, just for hands.
Yeah.
There's a lot more involved, but that's just like a quick.
Course.
Yeah, because they didn't do that back in the day. Printing's always. Some of it is nice and bold, like thick, and then it starts to go a bit thinner or lighter. Redial. Letters get moved around. Redial. So again, you won't pick that up on Chrono 24. Sometimes they won't know.
Yeah.
eBay. Some people are selling it as a genuine item. They won't know. So regardless of what platform you're buying on, my biggest piece of advice is research the watch.
Yeah, that's the problem. You don't. The people who are selling it don't know, and then you come into the whole Frankenwatch territory where everything is original, but it's the hands, but everything is separately original and then lumped together as one final.
And it becomes
piece.
a pissing match because they think it's genuine.
Yeah.
Another Aussie phrase.
So Abdul, what's your choice on buying and selling?
eBay, Chrono 24 are like the two biggest ones that I buy and sell on. In Germany, we have a different 6.5 for Chrono, but in eBay, we don't pay when we sell, but we pay taxes now on selling watches. So even when we sell watches, we have to declare it. We declare the taxes for the year, how many watches I sold, and then I have to get the prices that I bought the watches from. So that's why I'm slowed my buying and selling, because now I have to do more work just because I'm buying and selling watches, which becomes cumbersome. So the next step might be just a bundle deal, which I know that I will lose money on, that I go to a dealer and I say, okay, take these 3 watches, upgrade me to this watch. I pay a little bit, or I get some money for it. But other than that, it's Chrono and eBay that mostly used.
Yeah.
Buyer security.
It's not so bad. But yeah.
Here's one to put to you. What would you rather choose? One great everyday watch and a grail for weekend special occasions, or a complete collection with a different watch for every day across different price ranges? So a big box of watches, say 7, 8, 9, 10, even prices, or a really, really nice, like that, a gold Daytona for weekends and special occasions, and one really reliable, great everyday watch, like I don't know, GMT or something.
I've always thought, like, one of my rules of watch collecting has always been quality over quantity. Like, I'm always like, you know what I mean? I'd much rather have a smaller collection of heavy hitters than having 10 watches that cost a couple of $100 or a couple of grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think for me personally, Tom, I'd go with the first option of having a grail. If I can get that 5970 and have my back girl for the week, man, I'd fucking much rather have that than have 10 watches that I'd just be like, yeah, they're good, but whatever. I'd much rather have the two quality pieces for me.
Yeah. What about you, Abdul?
I think the issue is having a grail only and like a nice accompanying everyday watch is that my watch addiction will still be coming in. So I will be just buying maybe every week a custom strap for this watch, a custom strap for the other watch, a Milanese bracelet, and I will end up, which I also have, but I think for me the second option is more realistic for me.
Patek TWA. Right, so it's unrealistic for you.
Well, it's also that you get more variety too, Abdul. Like, you know what I mean? If you've got like 2 watches, then you just got 2. If you've got like 7 or 10, then you've got much more variety that you can cycle through. So I get that counter argument as well of having that variety as well. I think they're both equally sort of valid points.
What about you, Ben?
Yeah, probably a mixture of both. I think JCB's advice is definitely the most pragmatic. And it's even from the aspect if you need to get out, then you're only selling, 1 or 2 pieces.
The wise old sage JCB,
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I fall firmly into Abdul's camp, who absolutely nailed it. My addiction wouldn't be able to live with that, and it just wouldn't. So where my collection stands at the moment is I have 8 watches. My Explorer 2 is the king, and then there's 7 more affordable pieces, and that's working for me at the moment. If I had one criticism of my collection, it would be that I own maybe 4 or 5 field type. Well, say 4 field type watches. It's definitely an aesthetic that I enjoy, but now I've got like an Alpinist, an Explorer 2, a Hamilton field watch. My Speedmaster is more like a field watch than a chrono.
Yeah.
But I ask you this, Ben, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying, I've got a whole bunch of watches that are very similar or they're in the same genre. Are you happy with them all?
I probably am, yeah.
Then that's it.
I'm definitely the most satisfied and relaxed and calm about my collection that I've ever been. And I'm 6 years into it. I don't have... Like, at one point, I had 30 watches, and that was so anxiety-inducing. It was unreal. It's like, when am I going to wear all these?
We buy watches for us. You're happy with them?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit about anyone else?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. And I feel more like that. That's an age thing as well. In general, you stop caring what people think. But I'm a lot calmer about things than I have. It's the best I've ever been. I'm in the best position I've ever been.
I love an Irishman saying he's calm. Fucking perfect.
What about you, Timely? I mean, you must have dozens of watches. I mean,
so I like to have my cake and eat it too. All right, so my Grail watch.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have it. You got to pick. No, you got to pick. This is like, okay, you got to.
Yeah, I know. So
you know what I mean?
Here we go. That's good. Someone breaking my balls for a change. It's nice.
Break it. Have your fucking cake and eat it, guys.
Yeah. So, look, I like sitting on the fence. It's nice and sharp. That's a bit of GMT there for you. So my Grail watch is the one on the screen at the moment. I'm wearing it at the moment as well. The 976 was the one that I wanted for a very, very long time when I first started collecting. Okay, so I managed to snag my Grail. I've got tiers of price points. So I've got like the Explorer 1, I've got a Railmaster, Black Bay, and all that kind of shit. So it sort of goes from like, very, very expensive for me, because again, that's subjective, down to like I've got a collection of modern Tissot that are. So I've got like the World Timer, I've got the 516, I've got a Visa Date, and then I've got vintage watches. Like I've got a vintage Tudor Oyster from 1959, the Gold Omega, so forth like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My only rule is what's in my collection has to be of quality. And to JCB's point, he's saying like, high value, obviously, yep, quality, guaranteed, but also movements from back in the day, like the T20 Tissot movement was very similar to the caliber that was in the Omega tank watches. The one that's in the Omega watch that I've got at the moment in the Seamaster, high quality movement. And you know this by when you're putting them together, everything lines up, everything drops into place. There's no struggle. It runs seamlessly. Yeah, it's well engineered and well designed. So for me, that's what I want, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got probably about 30 watches at the moment, and I like them all, and I like variety, and I like to open the watch box in the morning and go, ooh, which one am I going to grab? And when I can't make up my mind, my 7-year-old daughter does for me. So for me, that's fun. The kids get involved. Nice. They go and have a pick, and So yeah, I can sort of in a way have my cake and eat it too, but I'm more in the Abdul camp.
Yeah,
You're flying the flag, Abdul, for you, don't worry. We got this.
yeah,
How
same.
about you, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I am trying to get into your camp, JCB. Of I had like Ben. I had like 30 watches. I've pinned it down to 15 now, and
better man than
I'm
me,
trying to get smaller. I'm trying to aim for the Grail Breguet and you know, a couple that are regular wearers. But I'm like Abdul. The hobby would lose its. I'm addicted. I'm addicted to the hobby, and
Totally,
it would lose. There's no end to this hobby. New watches come out all the time. You see new vintage watches, and like Timely says, you see new vintage pieces that are new to you, and you know, you got to experience these things to really enjoy them. And yeah, I'm part of the. I'm in the camp of the have my cake and eat it too. Really, so I'd stick with the larger collection. So on that topic of the large collections, do we have a favorite brand? I mean, mine at the moment, I find that I swing from favorite brands, but mine at the moment is Breguet, just because of their heritage and my Grail is a Breguet. I know you're a big Breitling fan, JCB. Is that your?
Oh, it's not my favorite brand. No way. No, no way. I think if I think about my favorite brand, it has to be MB&F for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's because of I just love the philosophy of the brand, which is MB&F, Max Buser and Friends. Okay?
Love it.
What he's doing is he gets together with the best watchmakers in the world to create these watches. You know what I mean? It's like it started off with Harry Winston, and we did a show, me and you, Tom, about the Opus series, right? And the blueprint for MB&F was Harry Winston, which was like getting the best watchmakers in the world to collaborate and make these watches. And so what Buser did was he just took that to the next level, where he's more the creative controller, but he gets, you know, people like Stephen McDonald, Vianney Holter, and whoever it is to just, you know, to collaborate and make these watches. So when I look at MB&F, it's just like everything about MB&F, the philosophy, the way he does it, the actual watches that come out, they're just mind-blowing pieces. They're artworks, you know. So for me, it's MB&F is like they're doing the main thing at the moment. So for me, it's easily that's my brand.
Yeah, Timely, do you have one? I would say JLC.
Probably. And I'm only saying this not because like owning one, whatever, but it's more along the lines of they've got a cool history, but also they make some really cool technological advances now at the moment as well with the shit they're bringing out. And the top three, whatever the Holy Trinity chasing them to make movements as well, that's like a badge of honor.
It is, isn't it? I mean, the Holy Trinity wouldn't be the Holy Trinity without the help of JLC, would they?
Correct.
I mean,
but also, I'm going to make an honorable mention to Breguet because when it comes to watchmaking, right? So the modern day hairspring that we know, it's called a Breguet overcoil.
Yeah.
They invented it.
Exactly.
It's what makes watches run as efficiently as they do today. But another portion of the watch that not many people know that they also created was your keyless works, the sliding clutch that's in it, the teeth. So there's like a wheel, right, that sits, and this is what the crown wheel on the other side engages, and there's a sliding clutch. So when you pull the crown out on your watch, this sliding clutch is what moves from winding the watch to the time setting it goes from one side to the other, and it's controlled by a yoke and a spring. But the teeth that are on it, the angle of the teeth, the design of it, I have to be so heavy duty, because when you're winding it gets under pressure. If they're not, they'll slip, they'll shear, they'll damage. Breguet invented that, and they're used in every watch right now, regardless of what kind of escapement that's in it, whatever. Every watch uses it. So a lot of what Breguet has done back in the day, everyone sort of owes, something to Breguet at the moment as well. So it's not just JLC coming out with shit. Breguet was like one of the key inventors of even what we use today, modern tech. So
Yeah,
big mention to Breguet.
yeah, loads of things. Abdul, have you got a favorite brand?
It's so hard to have a favorite brand and with so many nice watches. I would say maybe if I had to choose one brand, Elan & Zone is doing amazing. I think that the classical watchmaking and the engineering and the art of watchmaking maybe on point, both but independent watchmaking as a general. The whole let's say renaissance that we live in, the time of so many AHCI watchmakers, so many GPHG awarded independent watchmakers. There's so many from them, like Philippe Pecluc, for instance. When I bought my watch from him, it was his third watch from his atelier to come out, and now he's doing amazing job. And I think he's one of the ones to watch for. The ability to create a brand like Lorique, for instance, and work with people like I don't think we would be able to do this 10, 20 years ago. So I think the age we're living in is just so good for watchmaking that it's hard to have like a favorite. Big brands like GLC and Breguet, and they're amazing watches, but there are so many amazing ones that I cannot even have like just one that I would say I want only to experience watches from this one or brand or the other brand.
Yeah.
Also, the age. Sorry, just quickly, the age we're living in as well. It's like, so back in the old days, everyone tried to do something a little bit more innovative, right? So a 36,000 beat movement, that Longines brought out, or something like that. Just trying to get that innovative bit that just pushed the boundaries that little bit further.
Yeah.
We're in an age now where it's done. As far as a mechanical watch can go, it's probably been pushed to its limits. So now we're trying to pack in as many complications as we can. Like the reverso with like, what is it? How many different complications in the thing? Like 15 or something?
Well, I saw the Vacheron Solaria Watch and Wonders. That's got 41 complications in one watch.
Yeah, there you go. It's a different time now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben.
Mind blowing. Ben, you got a favorite brand?
Yeah.
Seiko?
No, maybe back in the day, but I love Seiko for what they have done, certainly in terms of providing an entry level for everybody across any kind of watch that you want, be it a chronograph, field watch, whatever it is. I love H. Moser and Sai. They're probably the watch company that have made me smile the most of any watch company, with the one that looks like an Apple Watch but it's a mechanical watch. The one that was like a conglomeration of all the icons, the icon watch, the one that was made out of cheese. And then they're more serious stuff. I love the Streamliner. God, the Red Dial Red Dial. Is it a Streamliner? I'm not sure. I love, but in terms of my favorite, just because they've been brought up so many times during this stream, I'll go with ALS. Abdul just mentioned them there again, but the Zeitwerk was mentioned as a grail. I mentioned the Datograph as a grail, and this morning I linked to on the forum that we're on, the Irish forum we're on, Tom, a story about the Lange 1, where all the proportions are based on this golden ratio or the Fibonacci sequence, which is 1.618 is the ratio, and that defines, say, the spiral on a snail's shell. It's seen in nature so often, the amount of leaves on a flower, how the branches of trees are formed this ratio, golden ratio, and it's used a lot in architecture.
The reverso that Timely's got on his avatar there uses the golden ratio as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the original reverso used it, and all they did with mine was make it bigger, but the proportions stayed the same.
They stay the same. Yeah.
So mine, it's probably, I think it's one of the only reversos. I think there might be a couple of them where they actually have 22 mil lugs because the proportions are exactly the same, and that's what it
Yes.
blew out to.
Yeah. So there's so much to love for me about ALS. There's that level of thought that goes into the design and the layout of the dial on the Langer 1. The Zeit work, obviously a digital display over a mechanical watch. And they don't use steel. We all spoke about our favorite material being steel. They don't. No, steel is for paupers. It's just white gold, platinum, precious metals.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because steel is something sought after for Patek. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely timely.
Oh, you got a steel Patek? Wow. Like when
Yeah.
I first heard that, my mind couldn't register. Like numbers and shit were flying around, and I did a
That's-
full Windows
That's just
research.
because it's rare, though. That's just because it's rare, you know.
Yeah, I know.
like,
Yeah. But even during COVID, JCB, like Steel Sports Rolex watches were like more expensive than their gold equivalents.
Yeah.
So
Certainly.
we had a lot of independence talk about in our favorite watch brand. Do any of us who own or aspire to own watches from independence? I know Abdul mentioned the Philippe Piccolic and the Lyrique. Any of us aspire or want to own?
Oh, for sure. I mean, some I'd say most. Well, aspiring. I'm gonna say again. Like I'm just talking Grails for me. You know, most of the watches that I love are from independents. You know, it's MB&F.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Grails. I'd say realistically. Would you?
Realistically, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd love that point. It's a Pioneer Center Seconds is the watch I was referring to earlier. It's a red dial, beautiful red dial by H. Moser and Sai. I'm not sure the price on it, but I'd love to wear something like that. Yeah, it's actually 13,000 Swiss francs, so not beyond the realm of impossibility.
So I've got an independent. I've got an Oris, but that I guess that's just a general brand that everyone has. But I think you're more talking about the ones that are a bit less out there. For me, I think it would be cool. I've had two friends own them before. Habring make a deadbeat second.
Beautiful.
I reckon that would be cool to have the brilliance of the engineering with the deadbeat seconds, like that just for something different. They're a beautiful looking piece. I know the one of the two guys that had the watch. So when he did have an issue with it, right? So the very, very few and far between have an issue with it, but he did have an issue with his one. And he reached out to Habring, and it was the wife of the owner that talked to him directly.
Michelle Habring, is it?
Yeah, and then the owner himself, I can't remember the names of them, but yeah, the owner himself reached out to him as well. They got it sorted, sent it all back. Brilliant, like no problems, fully serviced. Like just absolutely brilliant level of service.
Brilliant level of service, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, probably the Habring.
Yeah, Habring, great choice, timely. Yeah, beautiful watches. I mean, the Doppel Felix is a beautiful chronograph, and the just the one you mentioned, the deadbeat seconds, is beautiful. They make some gorgeous watches. Abdul, you're big on the independent scene, are you? With the Philippe Piccolic and the Lyrique brand starting up.
Yeah, I'm only buying at the moment expensive, or buying when I'm buying an expensive watch. I'm only buying independent watch, to be honest. The Lyrique is my next buy. The number 4, the Heure Sautante, it would be like a jump hour complication with retrograde. So that would be the next independent watch that I would add. But I feel like you just said timely, the service level that you get. Like when I went and visited in Berlin, Philippe's workshop, I met Philippe, I met all the guys there. I went several times. Every time I went to Berlin, they invited me. We drank coffee. They showed me the new watches. They told me how my watch is doing. Everything is good. It doesn't need any kind of service. Doesn't have any problems. Okay, perfect. And I attended always when I go to Berlin. I wear the watch also. So when I go to their workshop, I have their watch on my wrist. And I think that this nearest of the customer service part, like, and then the watch was not expensive in that sort that if you buy a 20,000 euro watch from a big brand, and you won't even get, maybe you get champagne when you buy it, but the next time you go to service, you will wait 12 months. You won't get emails directly answered. It will have long periods of time when you wait. On the other hand, when you have an independent watch, you paid, let's say, 10,000 for it, for a harboring or whatever, you get to talk to the guy that made this watch. You get to talk to his wife, him, sometimes his family members, other independent watches. So definitely, I like this more. I like this idea of having this perfect connection more than just number on an Excel or somebody who just in the waiting list waiting to pay the money to get this watch to show it to other people that look, I'm exactly like you. I have the same watch that you have as well.
Yeah. I love the whole independent thing now. I think it's mushroomed, hasn't it? It's blown out of proportion, the whole independent scene. I know we went to Anderson Geneva, when we were in Geneva, and they took us through their processes and different things that they do to the watches, and it was mind-blowing. And I've been to the AHCI show 3 times now, and to see those master watchmakers, Bernard Lederer, Vini Holter, Hajime Asuoka, Konstantin Shakin, to meet them in person, all those different people, Sven Anderson, and for them to show you and explain to you their watches. And I met Philippe Piclic as well a month ago, and to see their watches, and it's just a whole different ball game to your generic brands that pump out the usual suspects. It's just your Rolex and stuff. It makes you want to leave Rolex behind and just fly into a different world of watches. For me, anyway, I'd love to be able to afford to expand my horizons into independence. So I just want to ask, to what end do we involve ourselves in the online watch community? I know we're all big YouTube fans, and are we in any forums, Discords, Watch Crunch, Facebook groups, Instagram? Do we get involved in that at all? JCB, you're an Instagrammer, are you?
You know what? Like these days, not so much, mate. Like when I was starting out in the watch hobby, I would be more involved in forums and Facebook groups, those sorts of things, to interact more with people, get information from people. But as I've gone on, probably I don't have the time these days. B, can't be bothered, and C, I've probably got to the stage where I don't need to interact, and I've got enough experience and knowledge where I don't really need to get information from people anymore. It sort of sounds a bit selfish, I suppose.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Like,
you selfish
so these days,
bastard.
I'm not really just YouTube. Like, I'll watch content and hang out with you guys and be in the chat with on certain channels.
It's
But
more social.
I
now,
I just
rather
dip in and out when I can and when my life allows it. Really, that's where I'm at this stage. Yeah.
By your time, Lee, do you find it similar? Are you too busy now, and it's just a social thing for you to relax to, and you more just YouTube, and it's a relaxing, laid-back thing, just to chat in YouTube chats, and or are you more active, being a enthusiast in and fixing your watches?
Well, I'll sort of hit what platforms and levels of engagement I do. So Instagram, probably 2 bits of F all these days on posting pictures. But on Instagram, there's a little chat group, and it's the the guys. I don't know if you guys have heard of it before, but Fifth Wrist Radio in Australia.
Right.
It's a bunch of guys that you've got watchmakers, you've got people that like it, whatever, and it's basically like a podcast. And there's all different types of guys. So you had one guy that was working at Omega. You had another guy, and a lot of these guys I've befriended, right? So one's an ex-manager of Rolex. He's got his own workshop now. Watchmaking's in his family, that kind of stuff. So I talk a lot with those guys. Facebook, I've got a group in Facebook with a few guys in there. Good bunch of guys, nice watches, good talk, good banter, no bullshit, like no toxicity at all. So it's just what I wanted, somewhere nice where I can call home and just enjoy watch talk, right? Forums on Facebook, all the group forums that were buy, swap, sell, I've jumped out of them now because I don't have any really shits to give to buy, swap, or sell. YouTube, I haven't jumped on a panel in a very long time. This is probably the first one I've jumped on in months. I did the show with Archie just after he got robbed, a couple of months after he got robbed, and I did it for probably about almost a year, I guess, or just under a year. It was just like Archie and I every day. Archie, I'll be honest with you, like as far as Archie goes, great guy. He looked after me off the screen. Like I never had any issues with him. Always looking out for my own personal like well-being, I guess. Yeah, always checking with me and all that kind of stuff. So I guess what you see and what he really is are two different things. But I didn't like the toxicity in I guess chat and all that kind of stuff. So I very rarely jump on forums. The only reason I jumped on this one is because I can see in the chat everyone was pretty good, and even now I don't turn the camera on just for that reason. I just don't want to be involved in any garbage or bullshit that goes on. So that's I guess made me pretty like shy to the YouTube space.
Sure. Abdul, what about yourself?
I used to post a lot of stuff on Instagram before when I started, like daily wrist shot stories about the watches. But nowadays I'm just concentrating mainly YouTube, doing some review videos, and then the next couple of weeks will be more than the accompanying videos that will be done for Larique. So the process of creating the new watch and how the talks are going with big companies like Agenor, or watch, let's say, backstage information to the watch industry and stuff like this. And there is a series that I'm preparing, which is called German Watchmakers, where I try to get like German brands and focus on one brand and start like from my location going outwards. There are a couple of watch brands here in the Black Forest that has a lot of heritage, and I thought I'd do sort of like Bill Sanders kind of watch research videos, but on German brands, than to start on all the German brands that we have in Germany.
You could also translate that into a book later.
Yeah, that would be great.
I mean, Ben, both you and I own a sort of forum, aren't we? We mentioned the what started off as the Dublin Watch Group, which is now the Dublin Red Bar, and so that's one forum that we're in now, isn't it? It's sort of like a Discord. It is basically. Are you in any other? Are you in any other groups?
No, not really. Just the Discord. I have an Instagram account. I post very, very irregularly on it. We have this chat every couple of weeks, but I suppose like I was saying earlier, and like Timely Behavior was kind of saying that, like I suppose sometimes like you're posting wrist shots, and maybe if we're honest with ourselves, we want a little bit of validation maybe from the community. I've completely lost all that. I don't need any validation for.
Yeah, me too.
My taste in watches is my taste in watches, and you almost feel like you're betraying your own watches or taste in watches by just putting wrist shots on forums. But I suppose the Red Bar forum we're in is more than just a forum, because it often results in physical meetups in Dublin or wherever it is. So when I started out, I was like, had a YouTube channel. I kind of ran out of steam on that, and like it was everything. It was my whole life for ages. The whole internet, social community side of it. But you do ease off in time and just kind of dabble whenever you feel like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we mentioned Red Bar. Is anybody in a Red Bar or partaking physical meetups as watch nerds? And if so, how do you find these?
Guys, I have to go. I have to drop my daughter to dance.
Okay, Ben.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
If you're still here when I get back, I'll hop back on. But
we'll probably wrap it up fairly soon.
Okay. Well, thanks a million. That was great chat.
Yeah,
nice talking to you. Timely Behavior.
Nice to meet you, dude. Very cool.
You too, my man.
And don't go too hard on the kids when they make noise in the background. It's all good. Will you lot shut up?
Yeah. It's a fan. Can't you see I'm in a fucking podcast? Yeah. Okay, guys. Ciao.
Take care, Ben. Thanks a lot. See you later.
Love
it. Any of you, do you actually have physical meetups with any of your watch friends? Do you?
Yeah, I'm part of the Melbourne Red Bar group. Well, I was part of it. I joined up a couple of years ago, and I started going to a few events. But I just dropped off. Like it was just sort of
Sydney one.
I'm not sure.
You know what? Honestly, right? So Sydney's probably just a little bit bigger than Melbourne, I guess, right? As far as the city goes, but we miss out on a lot of cool shit.
Yeah. I'm not sure in terms of Red Bar whether they've done anything. There's definitely a Melbourne chapter of Red Bar, and I think maybe around COVID time, I emailed the guys and I was like, I want to get involved in it, but just I went to a few events and they were fine, but I just I don't know, man. It just didn't. After a while, it was just wasn't really my thing, I guess, and I just dropped off it. But yeah, I mean, they're pretty good though. Like some of the nights we had were really good. You had some great watch collectors.
Yeah.
Had some really cool people. You can make some good friends and you can make some great connections. But yeah, I think for me, it was just more just the time in my life where I just was sort of more getting out of the watch scene, I suppose. And so I wasn't really getting involved in Red Bar that much.
I mean, locally for me, there isn't a local one in the city I live in. So it's purely YouTube is my social life for nerding out on watches, and also the Discord that me and Ben are in, the Dublin Red Bar watch Discord. But yeah, that's about it for me. Yeah, what about Abdul? Do you have any meetups with friends, watch friends?
Yeah, when I used to live in the old city I used to live, it was very funny. I had a guy that I was following, a German watch channel, that had watches and other tools, and I found out he lived one street from me, basically. He was doing a video outside, and he was like, "Yeah, this is near to my house," and I'm like, "Hey, I live next to the street as well." And then I met the guy, and we meet quite often now. We have a red bar that's nearest to us is in Holland or in the north of Germany. So I don't visit them a lot. I have them on the group, WhatsApp group. But other than that, we meet this regional watch events that they make, like vintage watch expos or just watch sales, like in the street. You know, they have a couple of tables and people just selling, or in a big hall, and they're selling vintage watches. And
like a flea market in a way, but for watches.
like a flea market, exactly, like a flea market just for watches. So that's my main connection to to people here. I'm not into forums or that other stuff other than YouTube. Then
yeah. By your time, Lee, do you? I guess you've got a couple of forums for watchmakers, haven't you?
So for me,
or do you do meetups with watchmakers?
Sort of, kind of. So all right, Sydney for some reason is shit to meet up with people for anything like this, right? Like I was asking JCB if there was a red bar thing for here, because I'd sign up straight away because that would be just fun. But I've got a friend who is really into. Look at him; he just popped out of a wall. Just floated through the glass bottles. So I've got a friend who's into watches, he's into cigars, he's into golf, and all the shit that I like. So which is cool. So we hang out, and he's just a local, so that's pretty good. I've got a friend, watchmaker friend. He's local as well, and he's ex-Breitling, and he works on Pateks and all sorts of shit at the moment. So he's cool just to go and hang out with. And sometimes I jump behind the counter and I give him a hand in that, because he's, like, he's seen what I've done and all that. So he trusts me to, work on stuff with him. So I can jump in there and give him a hand when he needs it, or if he gets stuck. So that's pretty cool. But otherwise, not really. Here's an example of Sydney, okay, compared to Melbourne. Melbourne, like, if you go to an event, you're going to have a big mix of watches, right? Sydney, we had the JLC pop up for the Reverso, the anniversary Reverso, and you had all the different, through the history and everything there. I think me and one other guy were the only guys that turned up with a Reverso or a JLC. Everyone else turned up with a Rolex. That's Sydney.
Yeah,
that's boring.
Everyone turns up with a Rolex. You're right.
Yeah, it's boring.
Yeah.
So not really. There's not really, So what I would like to do with so I've got the group on Facebook, and that if when we get enough people in that, if there's anyone in Sydney, organise a once a month, like, if just
that'd be cool,
have a few drinks or have lunch or something, that would be fun. But at the moment, there's not enough people to even contemplate doing that. I'm not trying to build it up or anything, like get a million people. I like it when a smaller group of fun people, because you get good conversation. But that would be fun as well.
So we talked about watch YouTubers. Are there any that you really value for watch advice? I know that you're a big Bill Sanders follower, Abdul, and also Tim Mosso. I mean, enough said. Are there any other people you really follow for advice? I mean, you mentioned Archie Timely, you're big friends with him, and
there's a couple of guys I watch that I really enjoy watching, and I would listen to what they say because they know their shit. It would be Marshall from Wristwatch Revival.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
He's not a trained watchmaker. He done a course, but he's not a trained watchmaker. But he's just played around with them so much that he knows what he's talking about, and he's really good. Yeah, and the other one, his name's Stian. He's the channel's Vintage Watch Services, and he really knows his vintage watches inside and out. And if you wanted to know more about like vintage, Swiss pieces, he's probably the one I would spend the most time paying attention to and learning about. A lot of the guys that you see on YouTube at the moment that, like the Watch Finder and Co's and that kind of stuff, like those ones where they show the new watches that come out and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I guess.
Have you checked out the Dutch watch channel called the Chronoglide Watch
Yes,
Makers?
he's also good as well. I just couldn't remember his name, but I like him. Very good guy.
Carl.
That's his name.
Yes.
And he drinks a mean short black. He knocks off like 3 of them in one go as well at the start. So. But the main guys out at the moment. Look, I'm not going to go through names specifically, but I mean, you sort of have to take what they say with a grain of salt. Yeah. That at the same. How long have you experienced the watch for? How long has it been on your wrist? How can you make such an informed opinion on something that you either barely have held, barely have worn? Like, I don't buy into the shit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's I don't really follow any channels for advice, Tom. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't get advice from anyone, or for me, YouTube's more just about entertainment these days. Sure. Yeah, or if I just am interested in a particular watch, I'll just search it and I'll watch all the reviews and I'll watch everything about a particular watch and see what they're saying, because a lot of the time, like Timely says, they might have just had the watch for half an hour or had it for a week or something, and they've done a little review or something like that. I don't really take advice from anyone, any particular channels.
You want to hear from people that have had the watch for a year on their wrist or something, hey? Not someone that's just, it's a new release. Yeah, it's great. This is beautiful. Left hand drop. Come on, man.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
By you, Abdul?
Yeah, totally agree. I watch Bill Sanders a lot. Tim every Monday, of course. I like to hear their perspective on watches, but I look at the broader picture. I like to have people who wear the watch for 1 year and then told me, the chronograph button, when you open it, just sometimes it will hang up, so be careful of that. Like these small stuff that people use to watch long enough to have some kind of reliable source of information where you can take this information and say, okay, most probably it will happen to me as well if I get the same watch.
Perfect example of that. One of the AP, I think Royal Oak offshore, some shit, had the rubber pushers, the first lot. They wear out eventually, and you start to have issues with them. You're not going to get that from a Tim Mossa or someone that goes, "Oh, look at this watch. I've had this for." It's that kind of stuff you want to hear when you're buying. When you're thinking about outlaying that much money, that's the kind of stuff you want to be hearing about.
Yeah. So we've got a really good show. I just want to end up on one last question. What do we think to these sort of watches, like themed watches? I mean, sports team collaborations. This is one with the San Francisco 49ers. This is one with the Six Nations rugby. This is one for the Ford Mustang. This is one, and also arty cartoon collaborations with Swatch of the Masters. This is one by Reservoir. This is one by Citizen with Mickey Mouse.
JCB either got a bad chisel or he doesn't like it.
Space, sailing, and flying collaboration. So this is one by Zero West, which is got a bit of a Spitfire tucked in it. This is a limited edition by Bremont with the right.
Like the Wright brothers, the flyer.
Wright brothers, yeah. Now, do we think they're appealing, just functional, or plain gimmicky? Or just crap by JCB's face?
Well, let's go with JCB first.
No, okay. Like, Okay, if you were really
or
into,
are they just marketing? Are they just marketing for
Yeah.
a certain area of people?
Come on, Monsieur Beaver, please don't hold back.
yeah, no, I think. Look, I mean, okay, like to take Breitling for example. They've done a whole ton of collaborations, like Norton, Norton motorcycles. The French Air Force, the Tricolore. I know I think that's Italian actually. But look, it's up to the person. Like if you're really into that thing, then yeah, you might want to. Okay, Breitling for Bentley, for example, they had this whole thing about, they brought out this whole line of Breitling for Bentley watches. Like you've got to fucking love Bentley to go and buy the Breitling watch, right? Like it's just such a niche thing. Like just, personally, I would have to really love the particular collab brand to want to go for it, and even then, like it would still be a stretch. So yeah, overall, I mean, you saw my face. I was just like, no, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Stale chisel, that's what it was.
Yeah, if it was Cheezels on the dial, it might be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Abdul? What do you think to those sort of watches?
Yeah, I think it's the low-hanging fruit of memorabilia. Like if you're if you were a Barcelona fan and you just bought this
memorabilia is a good way of putting it, actually. Yeah, it's memorabilia.
This guy who has all the T-shirts from this football team since he was born, and from all his favorite player, all the posters, he has everything from the memorabilia. Why not buy a watch, a shitty Bremont watch that has the logo on it? I understand this addiction factor to it, but for me it doesn't make any sense. Like I don't like them. I'm not going to buy them, but I understand the idea of this consumerism to extreme. Like a fan of football team will buy the watch just because he's the fan of this football team and the logo is on the watch, and he needs a watch anyways, or he likes Bentley so much that he will get the car and the watch for every car. He has this Breitling watch for it or whatever.
Yeah, good to see you, Orange Hand. Real Enthusiast channels are the best on YouTube. The lower production value usually means better and more authentic content, kind of like this show. Thank you very much, my friend. Good to see you in the chat. And Trap Vision 3D, good to see you, my friend. I'd just like to say, Trap Vision 3D, Watches with Dennis, and any other channels. Please put the link to your channels in the stream. You've got wrenches. Please put the link to your channels in the stream so that the punters can know who you are and access your channels and subscribe. We want to spread the love here. And Watches with Dennis, you got a stream coming up in about 2 hours. Please put the link to that stream in the channel. And in the chat, Timely, what was your opinion on those sort of gimmicky watches?
It's fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
So
lay down, brother. Lay down.
I'm a straight shooter. I'm going to tell it as it is. I'm not holding back, right? So, Breitling. Let's take Breitling as the example. Pull Breitling up for a minute again. All right, let's have a look. So. Wait for the photos, and I will lay down fucking hell on this watch. Look at JCB, he's loving it. Look at him. All right, so you got these Breitlings, okay?
San Francisco 49ers. There it is, just in.
Yeah. So keep scrolling across now. Okay, see the colorways. See the colorways of the watch.
Nations with the Italian flag on there.
I'm Italian, don't give a shit. Sorry.
The Italian rugby team.
That one actually looks not bad.
Yeah.
This one's got the
Mustang.
Ford Mustang up there in the top. Ford Mustang.
This is the green from the green.
So hold it there.
Bullet Mustang.
Yeah. So hold it there. That's fine. So you saw the colorways, right? and the colorways actually go well with the design of the watch, right? For most of them. So Breitlink's taken the time to update their watch and come up with a colorway that would suit it, right? Similar to the way that Rolex did the OP, the different dials of the OP, the colorways, and Omega did with the Aquaterra. That's cool. Okay, no problems. Everyone would sort of go, oh, that's nice. I might buy that. I like a red watch. I like a green watch. I like a blue watch. But who the fuck wants to buy it with a sports team on it or a car manufacturer on it, right? You've now just limited your market from anyone that likes a color to someone that either likes the car or owns the car. Are you out of your fucking mind? You do this because you're reaching at straws to try and sell a watch. And all you're doing is cutting yourself off at the fucking knees to try and get it done. You
And
just
these
like a
things
top
aren't
time.
cheap
That's
either.
heritage.
They're fucking expensive watches too.
Yeah,
Like,
they're not
what
cheap.
are they thinking? It just doesn't make sense.
The top time goes way back in history. It's a fucking one of their brand names, like one of their models that it's been around forever with Breitling. And what do? Put a fucking Mustang horse on it.
Yeah, it's
Why?
What about these ones that stick bits of World War II Spitfires in them? And these ones
Look,
that
some people will buy it out of nostalgia. For me,
celebrate the Wright brothers flying. You know, this must have been about 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 quid.
You know what I would rather have instead of a piece of a Spitfire or the Wright brothers flyer. Personally, I'd rather have a Type 20.
I'd rather have an IWC Mark 11 that actually
Well,
was used.
Yeah,
Actually used by the military. You know,
to me, this is like the James Bond watch, right? The Seamaster 007 fucking thing. In the movie, do you think his second hand had 007 as a counterweight? No. He's not stupid enough to put his MI6 identifier number on the second hand, yeah? So when you're a collector and you go, oh, I want a James Bond watch, why would you go for one that doesn't look like a James Bond watch? It's the same fucking thing.
Have any of you guys, Abdul, Tom, any of you guys got one of these collab crossover sort of watches?
No.
All right. So when they who are they marketing these watches to? Like, you know, it's not us. It's not the watch enthusiasts. It's the people. It's those people that love that thing, right?
Yeah. People that have had a modern day lobotomy. That's who they're marketing it for.
Okay, it's like you've got to love you've got to love the movie Bullet to get the green Mustang Breitling watch, right?
I love Bullet. I ain't buying a fucking green Top Time.
That's what I mean. Like, how many people are going to fucking buy that watch, even if they love the movie Bullet, right? Like,
I'm a Steve McQueen
really weird. It's
fan, right? Weird. I like the older movies of Hollywood. Bullet's one of my favorite movies. I've got a Benrus 3065. I think he's got a 3061. They look the same. That's the watch he wears in that movie. Not a fucking green Top Time Mustang shit.
Yeah, exactly. You buy something, you buy the Benrus, don't you? Exactly, Tony. You put it on the head.
Like for, let's say, the red Breitling watch, I think what they're trying to sell is the 100,000 people that go to the stadium to watch the football match in the stadium, have the full shirts, get with the full cars, posters, and everything. And for them, that might be the best customer for one of these.
As opposed to the 2 billion people that probably could afford the watch instead of buying it because it's a red watch.
So exactly, I think that's the idea. Like, you limited yourself to less people that you think, they would pay the money that I require instead of the other people that would be like, wait a minute, this is 5,000 euros. It has a ETA movement. Why not get the other movement from you that is in-house, same price, just a pistachio dial or whatever.
I would love to be one of the guys on the board of these fucking things because that's how I would talk. Right? I'd wait for everyone to go around the whole table and they'd be like, oh, that's great. This is a good idea. Good design. Let's do this. Let's put a bit of green here. I'd be like, good job, you bunch of dickheads. You've just limited your, like they need someone to tell them the truth.
Yeah. Just to answer tonight, I wouldn't include the Speedmaster Snoopy collab in this group in criticism because Snoopy was actually part of NASA. It was a NASA, I don't know, affiliation. It was I don't know exactly what it was. It was the
Snoopy Award.
it was an award. Yeah, it was an award given by NASA. So basically, no, I wouldn't include that. I just want to check out everyone
This is
to.
just fucking cool though. That's why. So that's all right.
Cap Vision 3D's channel there. Please go and check him out.
Hey, Chopper.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Loves talking watches, does live streams, does videos, reviews. What else have we got before we go off?
Scratchy's saying he wants to know how Rolex allowed the 2025 release to be leaked because all the leaks were correct this year. Yeah, you know what? I reckon it was purposely leaked just to look like a bullshit one. To be honest.
Yeah, I don't know how the leaks go out.
Just to build some hype for watches and wankers. I mean,
Probably.
watches and wonders.
Yeah, okay, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much to Timely for being our first guest punter.
There you go.
To do this again. Yeah, you have to join us again, mate. It was really good. It's really good to have you on. Thank you for joining us. Thanks to Ben. Thanks to Abdul. Thank you to Joycey B and Timely Behavior.
Thank you. And just in case Ben's watching this later on, I was going to ask him something, and it was a bit of a joke. And it was, if because he's Irish, right? So there's a lot of redheaded Irish people. So if a redheaded baker, would he be called a gingerbread man? Just out of curiosity. Anyway. Take it in good humor, Ben. It's all good.
Do you want to eat it? That's the question. Yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys on the panel, but also people in the chat and people for watching. You know, this is it's a bit of it's a fun for us, but it's great. It's great that you take the time to join us and spend your time with us. We really appreciate it. So
absolutely, guys. And please check out Watches with Dennis channel. He's coming up in 2 hours. He'll be doing a live stream. He does a regular Saturday live stream, and so check that out. Cheers, Junior. Thanks a lot.
Cheers,
so
Junior.
we'll see you later, guys. See you in the next one, and take care and have a good day, have a good weekend. See you later.
Bye, everybody.
See you guys.